Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mr. Richard here. We're talking to Coach Jay, and we're talking about government contracts. We just had a brief discussion about his background, his military background. He came over from the islands, and at a younger age, and he had to do something. So his family members convinced him to go to the military. So he went to the military. He joined the Air Force, and he traveled all around the world. And I guess doing all that stuff and the government involvement and stuff like that, he was introduced to government contracting, and he started procuring these government opportunities and subcontracting or taking that opportunity and you know doing his part to ensure the American ensuring that the America's taxpayers dollars is being put to work. And he's trying to, or he's teaching us how to procure those opportunities. He talked about having an LLC or a entity and then an EIN, but we're going to break down that even more, and then we're going to look at sam.gov a little bit more, and then we're going to talk about other opportunities. So Coach Jay, welcome back. Welcome in. He just get left off, but he might have some phone issues. But he's talked about some really, 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 really great points. And he talked about how whenever you put in a bid, he's coming back. When he's talking about putting in a bid on sam.gov, he said you have to fill out a He's it's coming, man, it's coming. He's talking about how you need to go get opportunities, go on sam.gov, see what opportunities are out there, and then put a bid in on it, add your fee on top, and then once you submit it up to the government, hopefully you get accepted. But I'm sure it's a little more extensive than that, but I'm sure he's gonna break it down. That'll work. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you talked about sam.gov and going on there and looking at what opportunities are available. So like how how did you get into that? Like how did you get into this? Right? Because I know you had military background and you probably was exposed to contracts that way, but how did you start getting into this?
Sure. So when I was in the military, I was the airman that had to go to the gate and escort these contractors onto the base to actually do the work that they came to do. So I was curious back then, I was like, how is it that you are not military, you are not part of the Army or the Air Force, but yet you're coming on and doing work on the base and the facility? And they told me that they were government contractors. So they told me that they were making so much money just being a government contractor, but yet, so the seed was planted then. So I have a friend that's actually is a government contracting officer, the one who signs the contract to the awarded businesses. And for years, he's been telling me, get into federal government contracting, get into it. It's lucrative. It's so, there is so much money to be made in this. But just like everyone else that heard about government contracting from the outside, I thought that I had to be in business for multiple years. I thought that I had to have capital up front before I got started. I thought that I had to have license and certifications and set asides and all of this before I got started. So I kicked the can down the road.
Yeah.
It's not until I hired a coach, a mentor, to show me how it was and how simple it was to get in, that the light bulb and stuff went off for me. So once I got in, I learned the process. I start executing and winning federal government contracts. Obviously, the revenue start coming in, my life started to change. So my family members and those around me saw that change and they wanted to know what I was doing. So I started to teach and show them, and it just, perpetuated on from there. So that's how I got started in this space.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, we're kind of sound exactly the same. Like when it comes to like the coaching aspect of stuff, I ain't gonna say I never really wanted to be a coach. People just kept asking me, yo, how you do it? How you do this? How you do that? How you do this? How you do that? And I was like, well, all right, let's meet up at a place and let's talk about it, right? So, I can respect the fact
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
you took something that you was making money on, and then you had the the expertise to convey that message to groups of people, and hopefully they're getting contracts and they're winning bids and all that other kind of stuff like that. So, okay, so I
Yeah,
always hear when it comes to government contracting, I always hear like bids or um I'm a bid on a contract or I'm gonna submit a contract. I don't know. Okay, so give it to help somebody who doesn't know anything about it understand that aspect of it.
sure. So when we talk about earlier, about when the federal government puts out an opportunity or a solicitation, they would put out exactly what they're looking for. So let's say the federal government, the courthouse downtown Mississippi, it's a federal building, and let's say the water heater goes out in that building. They can't just go and call a local business and say, come out and fix it, because remember, they're using taxpayers' dollars. So what they are going to do, they're going to send a request to the contract office to say, hey, you need to find a business to come out here and fix this water heater, and they need to set the budget and all that. So that contract office, they reach out to small businesses within that local area to do their own research up front to find out what it is they want and how much budget they need to set aside to get it done. Once they've gathered that information and that data, they put out what we call that solicitation, a need that the federal government has. So we, as government contractors, we go on to sam.gov or any other procurement site, and we're able to see the need of the federal government. It will say, listen, the federal courthouse downtown Mississippi has a need of getting 2 water heaters replaced. And then they will give us the details and the specifications of what they actually want. They will tell you how many water heaters they want. They'll tell you what they want it to be replaced with and when they want it done. So we find that opportunity, and then we find a business that has the skills to do it and simply ask them for a quote. And any business owner, like y'all in here, y'all should know, if you have an opportunity to make income, to make revenue, you are going to pounce on it because you are in business to make money and to make profit. So they will submit to us a quote saying how much they will charge to go out to that facility and perform what the federal government wants. And then we, because we're not working for free, this is not a hobby, this is not a charitable event, we put our profit on top of it for putting the two together, the need of the federal government and the business that's actually going to perform the work. We put our profit on top of it, and then we submit along with what the federal government is asking for. Because just because it's the federal government and just because it's taxpayers' dollars, they're not blindly just going to write checks out of it. So what they do, they ask you for certain things. Hey, have you performed this type of work before? If so, give us some references. Just like if you're performing any type of work at your home and you're hiring somebody to come out to do work, the first thing you want to look at is like a Google review or some type of tip to make sure that they are qualified to do what they say they're going to do. And that's the same information what the federal government asks for. They ask for past performance or some type of references. And then they will normally ask, according to how technical the job is, they will ask you for a description. How are you going to do what you say you're going to do? So you get that information from the subcontractor too as well, because remember, they're the professionals. They're the ones that doing this on a day-to-day basis. And once we get all the information that the federal government needs, we send that over to them in the form of an email, and that's us submitting a bid or submitting a proposal to the federal government. In a
Okay,
nutshell,
yeah, go ahead.
us submitting a proposal or a bid, just us giving the federal government what they asked for.
Okay, I got a couple questions because I'm all about the dollar, right? So when you submit the
Yes,
contract,
sir.
or when you submit I get submit the bid or submit the, I guess the
The
contract.
proposal? Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to mess up your jargon, though. I'm gonna just keep saying contracts and bids, you know?
I
Like,
got you.
like, do you have like a percentage that you always tack on top, or is it just like a generic fee, or is it like you always try to double it, or is there like some type of metric that you always use? And
Sure.
also too,
So
oh, go ahead, answer that one. Get that,
no,
get that.
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Also too, whenever you get the email back, do they always let you know you didn't get it or you did get it, or is it sometimes they don't get back to you at all, or how does that typically work?
So I'll start with the latter one first. So after you submit your proposal or your bid to the federal government, we always have to understand that those that we're submitting it to are human just like us. Sometimes they get back to you, sometimes they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to understand, and I tell everyone who's getting into this space, if you're submitting or bidding on a proposal, the contract officer that you're dealing with, that's not the only one on their desk.
Yeah.
They have quotas to meet. So, you take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes they respond to you, sometimes they don't. But you could follow up with them to get that. All right. So when it comes to profit and how much money you make and all that, regardless of what dollar amount I put on top of it, it's automatically going to be a percentage, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
automatically to be a percentage. The system that I teach, the system that we perfect, we don't work off of percentages or a set fixed rate, because every contract opportunity is different. Every need of the federal government is different too as well. So there is no blanket template, there is no blanket statement that would apply to every solicitation you find.
Mm-hmm.
So what we teach you how to do market research, just like the federal government does market research. Remember, we talked early on, before they actually put out that solicitation, they reach out in the open market to find out who can perform the work and how much they will charge so they can set a budget of what that job will cost. So we teach you how to do market research to then see the numbers in front of you to determine how much profit you would put on top of it. So the profit varies based off of the opportunity and what the federal government wants.
Okay, then. But if you think about it, call me weird, but wouldn't it be better just to go for the bigger ones? You know what I mean? Or it seems like the little ones would almost not be worth your time. Or to do a lot of little ones equal up to a big chunk because no one really looks at them? Or does like one big one a year could almost net enough money to last you the year, and that's the ones you go for? Like just
No, yeah.
in your personal experience, like what do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, 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 yeah. So the bidding process is a closed process. So you don't know how much money the federal government has set aside for any opportunity. So that's why it's a bidding process. You have to put your best foot forward. But once you understand the system of how to do federal government contracting, the dollar amount really doesn't matter because the system remains the same.
Yeah.
The same way, the same process to win a $5 million contract is the same process to win a $20,000 contract. It's the exact same. So once you understand that, you can go after any contract opportunity that's out there, any opportunity that's out there. So in this
Just
space
real
of
quick,
federal government contracting,
oh, my bad, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Is it like a numbers game or is it like a quality game? Like, do I try to like put in the mini? Okay, I already did the research on this. Put it out. I saw this one. I saw it. Put it out there. Put it out there, and just shoot and just keep shooting. Shoot. And if I shoot out 30 a month, and then if 5 come back and I win those, then I subcontract them out. I get my cut, and then they do the work. Or is it like, okay, let me focus on this Whopper. I know this is a big deal. I already know it's coming through. I can get 5, 20,000, 5, 30,000, or I can get like one focus all year on this one deal and let me get this one right here. Or is it just like when I mean numbers like pop, 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 just shooting at the hip, or just like just focus, aim, and like, shh, like what? Like that's a weird analogy, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to like,
Yeah, I got you. I
yeah,
get you. I get you. So you can do both at the same time.
okay,
So this is the understanding of it. Okay. When you're looking at contract opportunities, especially on sam.gov, you can normally classify these opportunities into three different types or three different buckets, as we call them. There is products that the federal government physically wants something like a laptop, an iPad, pencil, socks. Those are considered products. But then there are service that the federal government wants you to come out and actually perform a service like landscaping, janitorial. And then there is real estate. As you know, the federal government leases and buys all different types of real estate, from parking lots to warehouse to you name it. So there are so many different strategies as it pertains to federal government contracting. What I teach and what I tell people to concentrate on is to have that residual income coming in month after month. So for those, we go after service-based contracts, because most service-based contracts are for 4 and 5 years long. So you can have one federal government contract paying you $5,000 a month, month after month for the next 5 years. And because there is no limit to the amount of contracts you can go after, you do the math. If I have 10 different contracts paying me $5,000 a year, I'm good.
yeah,
I'm good.
yeah. You
You know,
really think about it too,
real
man.
estate contracts,
Go ahead.
yeah, and real estate contracts normally run between 10 to 20 years. So you can go after whatever it is.
Man, that's crazy. But all right, so we talked about different types of contracting, products,
Mhm.
service, real estate, and we talked about putting in your bid, how you submit it, and then we also talked about looking for those opportunities on sam.gov. And we're gonna take a break, come right back, and then we're gonna get into the money portion of it. All right, make sure you like it, make sure you're tuning in, make sure you're following, and make sure you looking up Coach K. Make sure you click on the next video because we're gonna get to it.